Obviously, since we're owned by a private equity firm, one of the key aspects is, how does Rita's make money? It's a profitable organization. Majority of it's made from the royalty fees, and then new franchises coming on board. One of the differences we started doing this year, we're actually selling development rights. So everything international, we're actually selling to large-scale developers. Our guy in China is actually the subway developer for China. The person that bought the rights for India owns the rights to Quiznos and 4 other U.S. and Australian brands, which I'm not that familiar with. So part of it is you're bringing those individuals in that will open 5, 10, 20, or 100 stores at the same time. The goal for Rita's, what we plan on doing is over the next 5 to 6 years is we will be not only have Rita's, but we'll be acquiring 4 to 5 other franchise brands. It could be in the pizza business, it could be in the sandwich shop, whatever it is, and basically create the synergies. Because the advantage here is you have a developer in California that we just sold the rights to actually a group out of New Jersey to all of San Diego. So not only do they have the rights to Rita's, as we bring in other types of businesses, it's perfect so they can add on. This was the big difference. In the old days, the Rita's was basically a mom and pop organization. They went in, they opened 1 store, maybe 2 stores. The business model was very expensive. You're investing about $350,000 to open a store. As you all know, the stores around here are maybe open 7 months a year. The AUV is not extremely high, so the return on investment was many, many, many years. What we did is we then created more of a hub and spoke model, which you see on the right-hand side, very similar to Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, where now you produce the water ice in one location, you then distribute it to 4, 5, 10 of your other locations. We've also added mobile trucks, mobile carts that you've probably seen if you go to any of these food shows or anything like that. So now you can actually go get your Rita's at these mobile carts. And interesting enough, they have a custard machine, so you can literally get the exact same products that you would get if you went into one of the stores. By doing this, it now gives a significant return on investment for the franchisees. So with a reasonable investment, so if you take a look at this investment model, even at the worst case scenario, they're putting in $600,000. If you're doing $1 million a year in revenue, you're pulling out about $400,000 after that. So you get pretty good leverage, you get a quick return on investment, and that was one of the issues in the past. The business model worked for somebody that just was a mom and pop, but it did not work for somebody else. Yeah. Average unit volume. Yeah. So because it's open 7 months a year, the stores are doing about $225,000, $250,000. In this market, it's a little bit higher because it's well known. You had the southern markets; they were a little bit in Florida; they were a little bit slower. What we find on the West Coast is that actual number, since they're open 12 months a year, is actually significantly higher. They're doing about 450,000. And this is really just showing you, it's kind of hard to see with all this stuff, but this is basically how our revenue model, just in the franchising world, has changed in the last 9 months. And it's cumulative between selling domestic, international, and growth. And that model will continue to grow significantly in the next couple of years. This is basically where you see in yellow is, actually this is a little bit outdated for the last 30 days, but everything in yellow is now where Rita's is. If you actually look here, at the end of 2011, this is where we were. In 2012, we've expanded now across a lot of the United States, sold the rights to Canada, India, China, where else? And actually, final pieces, we should be, like I said, with Israel, we'll sign that deal before the middle of December. And then interesting, some other crazy places that we're going into that I would have never anticipated. Nigeria, 300 million people there. Pakistan, I'm not going there. Yeah, it's and then the other good one is that we'll actually close is Mexico all the way through Colombia, which will be another market. Interestingly enough, they have in the Middle East, or not the Middle East, in Central America, they have a product that's very similar to our custard and ice product. They do it on the beaches, and I remember having it, having spent some time in Central America and South America. They don't actually do it with crushed ice, They put a scoop of ice cream in it, put the crushed ice, they put the syrup on top of it, and then they finish it off with like a carnation condensed milk. Sounds really gross, but when it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity, it is actually really good. So we will continue to expand. Our goal by the end of 2013 is to have signed deals and be going into 20 different countries around the world with all the same products. Another key piece for us is social media. We're really huge into social media, building up the brand. There was a survey done recently where I was even shocked by it. We just got ranked #1 by Zagat's in 2 different categories. But the one interesting thing is our net promoter score is a 71, which is basically identical to Costco and Apple. So basically, the net promoter is how many of your customers are going to come out and actually be favorably talking about you. So you take out all the people that would say nothing about you or say negative things. You cut that out. So it's an extremely high score. And it's interesting enough, people really do love Rita's. And when you come in there for the product, they taste it, we get a huge amount of follow-through on it. Some of the new things that we're going to be doing, and you'll actually get to see because there's a number of test stores around here, is we're going to start testing different types of food products. Because one of the things about Rita's is it's great. You're not going to really go there for lunch. At least I would not encourage you going there for lunch. Maybe after lunch is a snack, but you're not going to eat. This is not your main source of food or nutrition. It's basically, if you look at where we do very well, it's basically from the time the dinner gets over with to the time we close at nighttime. And we're at capacity in most of our locations. Really can't put any more volume through it. So what we're looking at is what can we do to add additional business during those times. So we're actually testing food right now. There's 2 companies. I don't know if anybody watches the Top Chef TV show or has been to the restaurant Sabraga. It's on Broad and Spruce. Is that it? So he's actually doing menu development for us. Actually, the team's actually down in Maryland right now with the rest of my team doing focus groups. So we're testing about 12 different products that he developed for us. And then there's another company based in Philadelphia called Leonetti's, which does strombolis, calzones. We're also testing that. So the idea over the next year is to go into 20 different Ritas across the U.S., and we're actually going to enter and build a complete day part for food and to test it out and see, hey, will people come in and will they get a stromboli and a milkshake? Will that be something for lunch, or will that also be a dinner part? It's a way to also add additional value for the franchisees so they can get additional revenue during the day. It helps offset some of the rent, especially as we go into new markets. Rent here is expensive. When you go into California, our first store is opening in, I got 5, Redondo Beach, Studio City, Santa Monica. The rent's about $180 a square foot. So one of the things we're doing is what can we do to lower the size of the stores, make them small, but also what can we do to add additional revenue items for them? So we're looking at any ways that we can do to help increase that curve. So as you see that green line, that's ideally what we can do by changing that. The other thing that you'll see rolling out in 2013 is a whole refreshment category line. So we will have I don't know if anybody loves those Frappuccino type drinks you get at Starbucks. We're actually going to be introducing one made with custard and actually real coffee. If you look at around like the Dunkins and all the other products, they've stopped making them with fresh coffee. There's coffee extract in them. We're actually going to be making fresh coffee in all the stores per cup. So when you actually order our product, you'll actually get a fresh one mixed with ice, custard, hot fudge, all the yummy stuff. It's a really good product. Not low in calories whatsoever, but really good product. So we'll be testing that along with a couple other refreshing drinks. Frozen lemonade's another one that tested very, very well this year. Part of it is what we can do to continue to expand. Does everybody play the McDonald's game, the Monopoly game each year? Where you get those little cards. I did it when I was that was actually my first job at McDonald's. Yeah, I actually got fired from McDonald's, but for a totally different reason. Do not get into a pickle fight. Yeah, that's not advisable when you're 16 years old and you hit a customer with a pickle.